On, friends. I've changed things up, as you may or may not have noticed. I'm moving things around in the office to get a cleaner look. My good friend Ed, he said, hey, whenever you're doing content, if you don't have a great background, just shoot into the corner with a bookshelf in the back. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we've got going on, and I hope you like it. Anyways, today, what we're going to be talking about and what we're going to dig into, I know I said we're going to talk about email headlines, but I have a little bit more work to do to gather the examples I want for you. So we'll talk about that next time. Two quick reminders. We're doing Thomas Plummer's writing school in June. That's June 20th. You go to performbetter.com. You can check that out. And then next month, I'll be doing a 2-hour intensive on how to write great emails that people actually want to read and engage with. So look forward to that. Now, on to outlines. Outlining is an interesting subject because I think most writers outline in a way that is probably not beneficial for them. Most people outline in a kind of helter-skelter way, and so I want to dissolve. No, that's not the word. Oh, anyways, I want to help you out with your outlines. And so there's usually two people who approach writing with crummy outlines. The first person is you take your advice from your 9th grade English teacher, and you focus on a 3-point essay. You have your introduction where you tell them what you're going to tell them. You have your 3 points, and then you have your conclusion at the end. Right? It's nice. It's clean. Everyone loves it. But really, what it is it's crummy. It doesn't work. People tend not to enjoy reading stuff from that's written in that format. They tend to actually go away from that. And so we could dive deep into your. Sorry, looks like my recording blopped out there for a second. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. We could dive deep into the outline and give you all the details, but we're not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is give you the scaffolding for what to do. I prefer scaffoldings over fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks are awful, right? My friend John Romanello, he says, templates are shit. Frameworks are lit. The way I put it is scaffoldings are foreplay, fill in the blanks are cliche. So there you go. That's what you can enjoy for today. Now, so the scaffolding I want to build for you is I think less intense than a standard outline, but more intense than if you just happened to sit down and write. Because that's the other mistake a lot of people make, and they write and they end up writing a bunch of junk. And so if you're one of those polls where you either do a 3-point essay or you just sit down and write, this is going to help you a lot. Now, in your writing, depending on what you are writing, if you're writing a book, like I recommend you do, that's going to be a little bit different than an article or an email. But there are still going to be the same frameworks, right? And so whenever I sit down, I always think, okay, I need an introduction. I need a way to enter into this conversation. And I need to have headlines. I need to have sub-headlines. I need to have ideas, quotes, and then snippets. Okay, so those are kind of the big points we're going to talk about today. So when you're introducing your topic, it does not have to be like, hello, today we're talking about blah, 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 blah. With a video like this, maybe that's more appropriate. However, I found that with writing, it's way better to jump in midstream. Okay, so when I sit down to write, I open up a document and then I have my editing checklists. I have 5 edits I go through, and 2 edits, those are edits I do even before I sit down and write. And so the first one, I call it the thinking edit, right? So I think, like, what am I going to actually write about, right? So I get the idea down. And then I think about, okay, who am I going to be writing to? That's the second important thing. So what am I writing about? Who am I writing to? What's the audience for this? Third thing is, like, where am I going to post this? Is it going to be a book? Is it going to be on Substack? Is it going to be Medium, Facebook, Instagram? Am I going to put it on multiple platforms? Those are important questions that you need to answer before you put down a word. And then there's this idea that I love, and it's the idea of the round table. Now, in Arthurian lore, right? Actually, I have the book around here somewhere. Um, Probably didn't pop it up here, but in Arthurian lore, there's this idea that when King Arthur first built the castle, built Camelot, the round table was there first, then the room was built around it, and then the castle was built around that. The idea being that in order for you, that the castle was built with the round table in mind, as opposed to the round table being placed in there. And so when you come at an article, when you're thinking about how to approach it, you want to think, what's my round table? What's the idea that I want to tackle first? Like, what is everything going to surround? Then you can start building the walls, then you can start building the castle. So that's my first round of edits. And then I go into my curation edit. So my thinking edit, then the curation edit. And that's what I had talked about just a minute ago, where you have these five areas that you put down on your blank piece of paper. So it's, what are my headline options? So what am I going to be talking about? Like, and you know, again, you think about your topic and you just put down some ideas, right? Headlines could be this, headlines could be that. What are my sub-headline options? What are the points below that continue to point back to my round table? What are ideas? What are things that I want to make sure? So that's the third bullet point or third headline that you want to think about. So you have headlines, sub-headlines, ideas, right? And so this is usually simple notes to myself. Like when I sit down to write, I'll say, hey, make sure to cover this, or I want to talk about this idea. Then you head into your quote section. So this can be quotes from yourself. This can be quotes from other people. This is what you want to think about. Okay, how can I enhance quotes? And that's an important thing to think about, and it's an important thing to add in. People love quotes. I think they lend credibility to your writing. It shows that you're not the first person to have thought about this, or it shows that while you're not the first person, it shows that you have a new take on an old idea. Really important to have some quotes in there. And then finally, snippets. Now, this is the part of writing that I don't think enough of intermediate and beginner and even advanced writers do. Snippets are chunks of your old writing that maybe you haven't published yet that you'll grab and you'll throw into a new article. They're really effective. And so I use a program called Logseq, Logseq. There's Rome Research. Some people use Notion. This is the idea of having a second brain. So all the ideas that you think about, the lectures that you go to, all that gets thrown into this second brain idea or database, and then you can go back and search. So the cool thing about it is you can add like a hashtag motivation, life, fitness, whatever, and then as that database grows, you have these larger chunks of writing. I think all of these second brains, they do have a flaw that they're not great to actually write in. I use a program called Scrivener for my writing. I just like the format. It feels good. I can organize things easily. So I'll go to my Logseq, copy things out, and pull it into Scrivener. That's how you create an outline, right? If you're writing short form. Now, if you're doing longer form, if you say you're writing a book, then you're just going to take that thinking edit and that curation edit and expand it a little bit. So instead of writing, if you think about writing a book, it's really writing serial articles that are connected to one another. So that headline, subheadline, ideas, quotes, snippets that I had talked about, you just copy and paste that into every chapter that you're writing. And so for your introduction, you paste that. For your conversion story, like you paste that. For your methods, for your implementation, the technical bits, all of that, any chapters that you have, just put that there. And then as you're going about your writing, you can just think about it and be like, oh, that'd be actually a better in this section. And you already have that laid out. And so I hope that makes sense, because that's a really powerful tool, and I don't want you to skip over it. Having this format, again, headline, subs, ideas, quotes, and snippets, is gonna put you worlds ahead of everyone else, just having a basic framework. Now, again, the other side of this is you could overwork your outline. You could spend a week working on an outline for one article, and maybe that works for you, but what tends to happen is that you never actually hit publish, and your writing doesn't get better. So I find that there's this third way between overdoing your outline and underdoing your outline. I call it wayfinding. You put these large stones in, right, large ideas, and then you just kind of write to one idea, right? And then you think about it and you write to the next idea. There's a debate that goes on in writing oftentimes It's talking about plotters, people who plot out their writing to the nth degree. We talked about that with Brandon Sanderson the other day. He's a great plotter. And then you have Stephen King on the other side, who's they call him a pantser, or what I call an adventurer, right? They just sit down and they just go. Most of us aren't going to be plotters because that just takes too much time. Most of us aren't going to be pantsers because then you tend to end up with disorganized thoughts. Be a wayfinder. Find the big stones and write to them. Use a basic formula or template or scaffolding, right, to address your articles, and get to writing. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you can see the benefit in using scaffolding like this, and I hope you implement it. Again, it goes headline, subheadline, ideas, quotes, and snippets. That's it. So I'm going to say enough for now. Get out there, go write something.